Bride took off her wedding dress and casually tossed it onto the bed. Then she lay down on the bed, intending to have a rest. However, she didn't notice that her vegetative husband was still on the bed. She quickly removed the wedding dress and then found that her husband was rather handsome. So she took out her mobile phone and wanted to take a picture with him, but she noticed that the man's lips were pale. Thus, she took out her lipstick and intended to put some makeup on him. As a result, the woman had so much fun that she directly made her husband up to look like a little cat. At this moment, the woman noticed the dowry beside the bed and excitedly rushed towards it. She drooled over all kinds of gold and silver jewels. She didn't notice at all that her vegetative husband had already opened his eyes. The woman happily thought that she was going to make a fortune. She picked up a vase and said, "This should be quite valuable, but it's so ugly." Just then, the man said, "It's worth 10 million. Hearing this, the woman was so frightened that she dropped the vase onto the ground. Hearing the noise, the grandma came in. When she saw her grandson, who hadn't woken up for several years, open his eyes, she was overjoyed at once. At this time, the grandma noticed that her grandson's face had been painted like a cat and asked, "What's wrong with your face?" At this point, the woman crawled out from under the bed and greeted the grandma. The woman lied that putting lipstick on his face would help her husband recover. Unexpectedly, the grandma actually believed her and even praised the woman. However, the man was dissatisfied with this arranged marriage and said that he wanted to break off the engagement. At this time, the woman was extremely happy and told the truth about being a substitute bride. Originally, it was the daughter of her stepmother who was supposed to marry into this family, but before the wedding, she found her fiancé and her sister together. The woman made a big fuss, but was scolded and beaten by her partial father, who even threatened her with her mother's relics and forced her to marry the vegetative man instead of her sister. So the woman had no choice but to marry into the family as a substitute. The woman nervously explained the reason. She had originally thought that the grandma would be angry when she knew the truth and would ask her father to return the betrothal gifts. But the grandma was very satisfied with this daughter-in-law. In fact, the grandma didn't like that sister at all. Now that the woman had married into the family and awakened her grandson, the grandma was extremely satisfied.